Today we're going to talk about the word commit. Commit. To commit oneself to a promise, to be committed to a course of action is the definition for the word commit. So everything that we talk about today in our core values and also in our primary segment of the show is going to be talking about commitment. I get a lot of questions asked to me by potential agents and agents that are new to the industry especially. Questions like, how much money can I make? How long does it take to really get started? How many hours do I need to work in order to be successful? How long does it take for residual income to catch up? How much money can I make up front? So these are all questions about commitment. How long do I need to commit to this before it's going to pay off? And so today we're going to talk about commitment. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about is, of course, our core values. And in this segment, what we do is go through our 4 core values. We have core values that we live by here at CCSalesPro. Always learning, always living, always leveraging, and always adding value. And so, I was talking to an agent, last week, and a potential agent, and he said, hey, one of the things I really like about your company is that you have core values. And I said, the interesting thing about it is, I said, just about every company out there today has core values. But what's really difficult is actually to consistently communicate those core values and actually live by them. That's why we do this at the beginning of every show. We want to talk about our core values because we actually believe in them. They're actually very important to us. So first of all, our first core value, always learning. Make a commitment to develop yourself through learning. One of the things that even through difficult financial times, one of the things that I consistently paid for was I have a $14.95 subscription to Audible, Audible, Audible.com. Audible.com is an app I have on my phone. And I can go in there and for $14.95, I get 1 credit a month. So I get 1 audiobook per month that I just get for that $14.95 charge. And so, one of the commitments that I made early on was that no matter how tough things got, I was going to listen to at least 1 audiobook a month to consistently just continue learning. And really my goal through learning is I want to become the person that I need to become in order to achieve my goals. I was recently talking to a teenager in our youth group who is a junior in high school, talking about, we were talking a little bit about what he's planning to do. And, one thing I told him was, I said, don't be so concerned with what you're going to do. Be more concerned with the type of person that you're going to become. Because if you become the right kind of person, then no matter what it is, no matter which path you end up going in life, you're going to do well because you're the type of person that can succeed at that. So rather than thinking quite so much about, this is the goal, I'm going to accomplish this and this and this, you really want to think more about where do I want to be at in 10 or 15 years and what kind of person would I need to become, in order to accomplish those goals. So think more in terms of what kind of person. What I like to do is I like to take time once a year, kind of a ritual that I have. Once a year, I take out a piece of paper and I write down everything about a day in an average day in my life 10 years from now. So I think about 10 years from now when I'm that age, then I write down what's a day in my life like. What time do I get up? What kind of relationship do I have with my spouse? What kind of a father am I? What kind of, how big is our business and what am I doing each day when I go to work? And then what I try to do is I strive to become that person because I know if I become that person, then I'll be able to achieve those goals. So just a little tip for you there with always learning, but you got to be committed to learning. It's not something that, I'll learn when things are going well. No, you got to be committed to learning. Always living. Make and keep commitments to those in your life, people that are important to you. Building relationships is really all about commitment. It's all about making and keeping commitments to those in your life, whether it be your friends, your spouse, your kids, whatever it might be. Make and keep commitments to those in your life. Make and keep commitments to yourself about your schedule, about your plans. Talking about short-term plans, if you make a schedule, make a commitment to yourself that you're going to keep that schedule and that you're going to make that happen. And what will happen is, it's interesting to me that there's many people that just don't trust themselves. I talk to people all the time and they don't trust themselves that they can make and keep a commitment. And, your relationship with yourself is surprisingly like your relationship with everybody else in life. If you're constantly saying you're going to do things and then you don't do them, well, you start to not trust yourself. Just like if you say things to other people, make promises and don't keep them, those people don't trust you either. So it's important that when you make commitments to yourself and keep them, make commitments to others and keep them. Because, there are times where you might make a procedure or a system and you think, I don't need to use this. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to be committed to this procedure or this system. I just need this when I delegate. But that's actually not the case. If you're looking to delegate, you have to start by kind of delegating the task to yourself. In other words, imagine that you are a brand new worker. What kind of procedures and systems would you have to have in place to get this task done? And then you need to follow those procedures and systems, because if you don't, you're never going to get them all in place. You have to make commitments to procedures and systems before you can make commitments to team members. Always adding value. Commit to your customers for the long haul. Let me just talk about that for just a moment. Some of you might not be in this industry in 6 months. You might get another job offer and you might move on. Let me just encourage you on something. Make a long-term commitment to your customers. Make a commitment to your customers for the long haul. And if you can't do that, then find someone who can. If you sell 1 or 2 customers and then you get another job making $70,000 a year and you're like, what, I don't have time for these customers, call me up and say, hey, James, can I give these accounts to a different agent, let him get the $30 or $40 a month residual and have him consistently service these accounts? Make that long-term commitment to your customers. Even if you only have a few customers, make a long-term commitment and follow through on the things that you tell them that you're going to do. So let's talk about commitment. Here in our primary segment, we're going to talk about commitment. I've got 2 slides on this. The first slide is going to be frequently asked questions about commitment in this industry. And then we have one more after that we're going to go through. So let me go through some of these frequently asked questions here about the merchant services industry and commitment. The most commonly asked question I get, and also the YouTube video that has the most views on YouTube on our channel, is how much money can I make selling merchant services? The way I answer that question is, first of all, when you're talking about a new agent, okay, you're going to make about $20 to $30 per hour you spend prospecting on a 3-week delay, and your first week doesn't count. So let's break that down, okay? You get out there for your first week. In your first week, your goal is really just to meet business owners, collect statements, and go through the training. So you're not really going to be probably closing deals your first week out in the field. If you do, that's great. That's a bonus. But usually your first week, you're just kind of figuring things out. Now, once you get to your second week, by that point, you should have some statements that have already been to the statement analysis department. Now you're going back to present those to close deals. And at that point, what I found is that most agents are going to make between $20 to $30 per hour that they spend in the field prospecting every week, okay? So if you spend 20 hours a week out in the field prospecting for new business, okay, then we take 20 hours times, let's say $20. That's $400 a week. Or if you take it times $30, that's $600 a week that you're going to make, in upfront compensation, but it's going to be on about a 3-week delay. So after the first week, let's say the next week you spend 20 hours out in the field prospecting, you can expect to make between $400 to $600 3 weeks later. Now, the reason I tell you that is for a couple reasons. Number one, I would hate for new agents to get into this industry with false expectations, and I am afraid that happens a lot. Other recruiters will tell you, oh, you're going to make $1,000 a week your first couple weeks, and all these kind of ridiculous promises that they can't keep. I want to make a commitment to you as an agent that the numbers that I present are accurate. Now, never one time, never once, ever have I had an agent call me upset saying, I did exactly what you said to do, I worked the business full time, and I wasn't successful. Never have I had that happen, never, not one time, okay? What I have had happen many times is agents call me and say, James, I just can't do this. It's too difficult for me. I can't get out in the field and prospect 20 hours a week. I just can't, I'm not cut out to do that. And I say, hey, that's fine, and then they move on and find another career. I've had agents call me and say, James, I just, family concerns have come up, or I got another job offer or whatever, and they leave for those reasons. But I've never had an agent say, I made a commitment, I got out in the field, I worked it full time, I went out for a whole month, worked it full time, and I'm just not making, it's not working for me, okay? So I've never had that happen. And that really says a lot when you think about how many agents that I've worked with, okay? So you can make $20 to $30 per hour if you spend prospecting on a 3-week delay. So make your plans accordingly, all right? You look at, for instance, look at how many hours you spent in the field prospecting last week. Be honest with yourself. I'm not talking about installations. I'm not talking about customer service. I am talking about how many hours last week did you spend in the field prospecting for new business, okay? However many hours you spent, multiply that by $20 to $30 per hour, and then plan that that's how much money you're going to make in 3 weeks if you continue working full time. Because now you got to close those deals, you got to do the installs, etc. So you got to continue working full time. But that should be the way that you make your plan. To speaking to all of you soon.